Been a good early part of the week. Coaching staff's working very hard on a short week to get ready for a really good team coming in off the heels of getting the win on Monday night. We talked a lot after the game about that game and what first and foremost I came away feeling was where our team is at from a standpoint of what it's going to take to win games and how we're going to have to continuously chase improvement, but lean in and lean, on all three phases of our team to do that. And I was proud of our guys for doing that. But there is no question we have a lot of things we need to improve on, a lot of things to immediately get better in a short week. That can be a challenge at times, but we feel good about our plan for the week, and we'll get ready to welcome Raheem and his team here on Sunday night. So another opportunity to get to play on national TV, something that gives us an opportunity to put our team on display, and we want to continue to try to chase improvement. Like I said, congratulations to J.J. McCarthy on the NFC Offensive Player of the Week honor, and looking forward to seeing him build on that. It starts today. It starts with his preparation. Again, I thought he had a great week of preparation that led him into being able to overcome some adversity and help lead us out of a place where we weren't playing very well offensively, and we found a way to get on track there towards the tail end of that football game. Giving you guys an update on some injuries. So I know with Blake Cashman and Ty Chandler, Ty was able to finish the game, but it looks like both of them will miss some time. We're still working through what that looks like roster-wise, but I do plan on both of them returning, but I don't have a real timetable as far as what that looks like from a standpoint of the next few weeks. Jeff Okudah and Andrew Van Ginkel did come out of the game and have been placed into the concussion protocol, so that will be something that to monitor clearly on a short week with both of those players. They're both doing well, but they are indeed in the protocol, and they will work their way through that here over the next few days, and we'll see where they're at for the football game. Harrison Smith, Christian Darrisaw will both continue to ramp up their work, and it's just there was a game on Monday night, but as we continue to progress forward, they are part of a daily mission of getting back on the field, and both doing very well. And then also Xavier Scott and Elijah Williams will return this week to practice as well. We got some other guys. It was a very physical football game. We got some other guys dealing with some bumps and bruises that may show up on the injury report, but for the most part, wanted to update you guys on those names. And I think we're good there. So turn it over to you guys.
Kevin, when you rewatched the first half, what was your kind of takeaway about why things weren't working and what you can build off of there?
Yeah, I thought there was some sloppiness to how we played, and what I mean by that is really, we talk about all 11, and how many snaps did we actually have all 11 guys just simply doing their job and doing the things that fundamentals and technique, schematically, things they were coached to do, and it was kind of moving around a little bit, and we just weren't on the field enough. We weren't able to sustain any sort of momentum to allow ourselves to stack some plays, and then luckily we were able to get the stop the defense did late in the first half. Murph made a great tackle, and they make the field goal, and then we get Speedy on a explosive to give Will a chance at it. And I thought those 3 points clearly ended up being pretty huge.
Kevin, what was Ty's injury?
Ty's got a knee. It is something that just speaks to Ty Chandler, not only finishing the game but being one of the last people to touch the football there on that last kick return when he brought it out to make sure we ate up that 2-minute warning. And Ty is so tough. He's one of those people that you're not surprised when you kind of hear about it in detail the next day of like this could be something that causes him to miss a little bit of time. That's how tough he is, and he wasn't coming off the field in any capacity. So we'll get him cleaned up and healthy, and everything will be good.
Kevin, what was pregame? What was Will's range? What did you guys determine?
Yeah, the direction he kicked the 59-yarder was actually into, there can be much more significant wind, as you guys know, probably better than me about Soldier Field, but that was into the direction we thought the wind was impacting the kicks. It was right around that number. In fact, it's one of those situations where, with it necessarily wasn't replay assist, but the ball had been spotted. The way the sequence of play clock and things work under 2 minutes like that, they're already, they're planning on bringing, I didn't see the halftime show, but they're getting ready to bring everything out. They want us to get off the field in a timely manner, and there's a lot to get to from a entertainment and production standpoint. So sometimes you're looking at it like field goal teams on the field, they move it back, and it was right on that line. Do we hockey line change and get the offense back on and potentially risk, a procedure penalty or something that would, impact our ability to get the chance at the 3 points? So I decided to just leave them out there and felt good right on that number. And, Will hit a great kick, into the wind right there, and we had good protection and got the critical play. The other direction, I would imagine, I can't remember exactly what the number was, but it was a little further than that.
Did you have any, conclusion about some of the plays where the clock got pretty far down?
Yeah, I thought, that was one of the things that, you watch. It happened, around the league a little bit when you see, it's not even just young quarterbacks, it's just the game one in a lot of ways. We try to simulate the play clock as much as possible. A lot of times it ended up being on those third downs where you're trying to do everything as a staff based upon the limited inventory of actual real, Dennis Allen coached Chicago Bears defense to try to piece together some things to help the offensive group, get the best possible play we can get to, maybe, see a cover zero look and get it blocked up and have a chance to convert. Didn't end up happening, but you're trying to do those things based upon what you think you may get, what you think might be a potential to, as coaches and a scheme to put it together in a way that helps the players. But I felt like in the first half, it was moving pretty quickly from a standpoint of were we getting out of the huddle in the most efficient way possible, immediately knowing our alignments. The motion timings I thought were not very good in the first half. The details of what we saw throughout a really good week of practice in the noise with some new guys playing not only at quarterback but at center, right guard. All those guys are involved in some capacity in that silent snap count. And then just across the board, we needed to, kind of take our entire execution as an offense to clearly another level that is our standard of doing things. And I thought as we started to move the football in the second half, the execution got better. The rhythm of the offense got better, and it's all tied together. So clearly we will not have some of those obstacles that present themselves on the road. Really for a while, if you think about it from a standpoint of our trip overseas and everything, we expect obviously to be the road team in both those games. We'll deal with some, things in the environment of the stadium there. But as far as a true road game, I think I even said it after the game. I made the mistake of, kind of thinking, hey, I think we're going to be all right here. And then that fantastic national anthem and a couple F-18s later, I was sorely mistaken. And it was absolutely, if you wanted to see your young quarterback in a real road environment, that was certainly one of them. Credit to them for that.
Kevin, yesterday on the radio, I think you were talking about how you wanted people internally to not, want JJ to prove it, before they supported him or before that they kind of believed in him. To what extent do you think that was successful, players, coaches, anybody in the building? And to what extent do you think human nature at all kind of crept up and said, hey, I kind of do need to see him before I believe in him?
I'm sure it's natural, especially under those circumstances. I'm sure it is a natural feeling. What I have just tried to instill really long before Monday night happened, if you really think about it, you go back over our time here, whether it's a new offense in year one, there's some unknown there. There's a little bit of a leap of faith of, what's this crazy guy talking about this system and what they've brought here. Then you talk about the adversity we dealt with in year too, and there was total unknown throughout that whole season, and the guys just kept trusting in the process and playing, and it doesn't always accompany. It's not always accompanied by the result of Monday night. And then last year with our quarterback situation, there was an unknown there as well. So I've just tried to lean on the fact that a lot of the guys that have the belief they do and had it before we took the field on Monday night, they've hopefully have reasons why, beyond just the fact that we all believe JJ's made of the right stuff and we all believe he would respond in those moments. But you're that's an accurate statement to say we hadn't actually seen it. But that's my hope with a lot of things, not just the young quarterback. That's my hope with our football team, where we can start to really believe and deep down inside believe and expect good things to happen based upon how we prepare, how we have prepared with training camp and the whole off season to make sure in those moments we shouldn't be shocked by it. We should be expecting it and getting in the huddle and getting ready to snap the ball again and do it again and again and again as a football team and do whatever it takes to try to win.
Kevin, along those lines, when things were going poorly there in the first half, it didn't seem like his demeanor changed.
No.
I mean, you obviously play an emotional game. How do you not let negative emotions kind of creep in those situations?
Yeah, I think it's it's not just him. It's our whole team. It's, one of the people I was most proud of on Monday night was Justin Jefferson. This is a guy that expects to go out there and make a play every single play. And we weren't necessarily doing the things across the board, myself included, to have the success that we wanted. And I just felt like throughout the whole game, although maybe at times, people want to see a Gatorade cooler thrown or a bench, knocked over or something. It was just about poise. It was about understanding if we, the things that were happening were as much to do with things we could correct by just doing our jobs a little bit better, and then just trying to sustain that level of execution. And that was what the focus was on. The focus was on dialing in on some of these looks that maybe we were talking about for the first time. The focus was on how am I making sure my technique and fundamentals apply to how I'm being played today in this football game, regardless of what our preparation might have been. And he was a great example of that. I mean, his sideline demeanor was outstanding. Clearly, guys like Aaron Jones and Brian O'Neill and T.J. Hawkinson, these guys, I've come to expect them, along with Justin, to have that demeanor because those names I've just mentioned have been through a lot of games together where maybe it wasn't going your way, and we're going to figure it out. And the trust and belief that we're going to find that path to not only just trying to find a way to win the game, but just play good offense and sustain some things that help you do that. And I thought our whole group and coaching staff included, really kept level heads, poised. I mean, we're trying to hold each other accountable in the moment. We're trying to identify things and call it what it is, which was not good enough. And then, like I said on Monday night, I didn't want it to be a Tuesday morning correction session. Like, let's have it right now and let's find a way to get out of here with a win.
What impresses you most about Atlanta and what they do and what they try to do?
Yeah, I think when you look at their, first and foremost, on the offensive side of the ball, they have a collection of skilled players as good as anybody in the NFL. I mean, you look at the way Bijan Robinson impacted that game. I think he had 12 carries for 24 yards on Sunday, but he had 6 catches for 100 and a touchdown. And the touchdown catch was a check down in space, and he turns it into a massive, explosive play. Breaking tackles, finding grass, and scoring. So clearly, when you see a player like one of the best at his position be able to touch the ball in the run game, the screen game, check downs, when you're trying to cover down the next group of guys I'm going to talk about, it's an impressive aspect of their offense to have a player like that. And then you start talking about Drake London and Mooney, and obviously the tight ends all seem to bring a certain level of playmaking, they've got a very similar room in a lot of ways to us with, guys that, really can block, guys that can really impact the game in the pass game, and really fit with what Zach does. And that's where I think Zach does a really good job, as putting that whole thing together and allowing a lot of those guys to have an impact on the game. And then, I think Michael Penix is a guy that we studied him a lot, know him very well, and know how talented he is as a thrower of the football. He truly excelled at the collegiate level, pushing the ball downfield, finding, his receivers and throwing guys open and finding ways to have massive amounts of explosives in a game, from the pocket. And then what I think people are starting to learn about him is his ability to affect the game with his athleticism. I mean, the Sunday was a great example of that. Tampa did some good things to try to slow him down as the field condensed. There was some, coverages that there weren't a lot of, eligibles in rhythm. So what did he do? He found a way to get the ball in the end zone, to get a first down, to just, force you to snap it one more time by making a play athletically. And I thought he, was a driving force behind that game being so competitive into overtime, all those things. I think it was impressive. And just defensively, Raheem is a guy I know very well as the head coach. For sure, signing up to play a game like this against a group that he's coaching, they're going to play incredibly hard. They're going to be flying around the field. They're going to be a good tackling team. They're going to be all about the ball, punching at it, trying to force turnovers. They're going to be well coached. They're going to do the things required to be a very tough defense to play against. And I think they've got really good players on that side at all three levels of the defense. Physicality up front. I think they have two really good linebackers. I think they've got some young guys on the edge that are, explosive pass rushers, and they rotate those guys so they stay fresh. And then between Terrell and Bates and just their entire group of DBs all seem like they are really good fits with what they're doing. And then, Jeff Ulbricht's been a guy that, we played against last year in London when he was calling it for the Jets. And then, ultimately Raheem brings him in to call it. You can see why. And he carries a lot of those exact same characteristics. And, now you have a world where they can mesh two different schemes entirely together and create some problems for offenses, especially early on in the year where there's really only one game of inventory of knowing kind of what exactly they're going to be.
Coach, I just want to ask about Miles Price, and obviously he earned the roster spot for a reason and everything, but just curious what you thought about how he handled the environment and giving you guys some positive.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while there's not going to be a moment too big for Miles, and he won that job. He clearly showed he could give us a spark. When you're in a constant battle to win field position, every yard matters. He's got the skill set to be a really good returner in the NFL. From in the punt phase, making the initial guy miss, understanding the return and how to set up blocks. He's got natural instincts as a runner, and then he's got a play style to him that it's not always delivering the blows. We learned, he could, get launched 9 yards, from almost the middle of from between the hash and the numbers to outside the numbers, and an incredible pop-up game there to get up and I told him, as I told you guys after the game, I mean, I don't know what else you have to worry about now that you were able to have that happen your first time out there. The rest is going to be easy, and he proved to be a huge impact on the game, and I think we ended up winning the starting field position by just under 1 yard. So every single one of those returns actually did matter.
Moment not too big, Kevin. Does that speak also to Donovan Jackson?
Yeah, I think that's I know I was asked about him after the game, and that was before I had a chance to watch the tape, Darren, and I thought he had a really good performance from a standpoint of the matchup, what they were doing, how they were trying to, really on that on that left side, without 71 in there was a mindset defensively of trying to, go at that side of our protection, and between, Justin School stepping up and competing all night long, and then Donovan and Ryan, really, solidifying the interior of that side when the slide was going that way, and when Ryan was working the other way, Donovan had some really, really good reps in the one-on-one phase. And then what that did was once we, got into a little bit more of an all-11 kind of execution in the second half, Donovan was showing up in the run game. Play style, physicality. We were running some different schemes versus base to nickel groupings, and Ryan's getting runs targeted, and we're totally ID'd and getting hats on hats, and there was a lot to really build off of that was really encouraging. But Donovan, played really well. I also thought another guy we didn't talk about a whole lot, but I thought Jalen Naylor, when you watch the tape back, was just flying around the field all night long, physical in the run game, considering his journey to get back and play in that game. For him to, perform the way he did, where maybe it doesn't show up in the stat sheet like it does for others all the time, but that was really encouraging. And then I thought TJ Hawkinson, he blocked as well as he has maybe in his career, and that's been a real mindset from TJ the entire offseason. With the production he's going to have in the pass game, if he can consistently block like that when paired with Josh Oliver, we've got a really, really good thing going in that tight end room, and that was really, really encouraging to see as well.
Kevin, how did you stay, you talk about the injury report. What about for you? What have you learned about sleep and how you prepare for a game and a Monday night to a Sunday? How do you get to peak performance on Sunday personally, and what have you learned over the years about that?
Quite honestly, I've learned that this probably ain't for everybody. And luckily, I feel like I've learned long ago that lesson, and I've made the determination that figured outness is the best quality to have sometimes. And you don't always get to do that on, 8 to 10 hours of sleep and everything. But there's every coach in this league, every organization, every player's got to deal with the unique aspects of what makes our game so great, I think, is our schedule, because we've got the ability to have such an impact on fans, multiple days, multiple continents, multiple, you name it. We know what we're signing up for. And, when you love doing something, a couple less hours of sleep never hurt anybody.
Get everybody to open locker room now.